Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
Welcome everybody to the Mojo Market Report here on a Wednesday. It is your host, Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, coming to you from Chop Studios and of course A5 Anthony behind the glass. We got ourselves a loaded show today. We're excited about it. There's a lot going on overnight, which again, I got a text real late. You know, you got to stop texting me so late because I'm trying to catch up on some sleep.
I knew you napped, so I was like, you know what?
I'm
going to throw him this text because it was an important text.
I
was feeling very good about it, more than I would do.
Exactly.
At that time,
you just left me on red. Anyway, so there was some significant movement last night. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I got to say, last night, the stairway became the elevator, okay? Something happened last night with Justin Herbert.
It did.
Please elaborate.
Justin Herbert, I guess everybody knows what's going on with Justin Herbert with the rib cage. He's deemed healthy at this point. Justin Herbert is that guy, and he shot up a little bit. I got a multiplier. My portfolio is sitting at plus 170% as of Wednesday morning. I'm very happy. Mojo, thank you, Mojo. I love the multipliers.
I've been friends with you for like over a decade. I've been business partners with you for about 2 years. And something I can tell you about Chris Gueci and what he does, he likes to one-up you a little bit. So he saw that I was rocking with like 103% return on my investment over at Mojo Market Report, and here he comes this morning with 160%.
I was feeling a little down on myself yesterday when
so
they
made some investments.
It was. Could you send over that your portfolio so I could retweet it? I said I want to retweet. Well, where's my retweet? Where's my retweet?
Did you put it out there on Twitter? All right. Well, you should probably do that.
I will.
The powers that be over at Mojo's Instagram and or Twitter, they'll give you some burn over there. They listen. They like to see success.
I cannot wait for my burn.
The burn's coming. The burn's
coming. The burn is coming.
We've been talking about quarterbacks for pretty much a week and a half now, right? It's time to shift our focus a little bit because last night, Gooch, you did a little bit more of a deeper dive in the app and you did some research. And today we're going to talk some running backs. The running back room within everybody in the NFL is jumbled. There is no such thing anymore as a bell cow, except for the guys we might want to talk about today. So talk to me more about why running backs are so volatile and they move like crazy, but why they should be a research investment before you start throwing all the money in the world at them, and why they're more or less, I guess, a little bit more of a risky play.
Yeah, I'm more of a QB wide receiver guy as far as my portfolio goes, but that doesn't mean that I don't look into every position because there's value everywhere. And here at the Mojo Market Report, we're looking for value for the people. But I got to say, the running backs, they scare me because of just the nature of the sport and the nature of the position. NFL executives don't really like to give out big contracts to running backs. And
unless you're Jerry Jones.
Anytime a team gives out a large contract, you don't see them really high draft picks in the first round. It's very, very rare. It takes a rare talent to come along and get even picked in the top 10. Mm-hmm. I think AP, Saquon, Zeke come to mind out of anybody that I could think of.
I think the last one to be taken early is Saquon. I think that's the last one.
And then Giants fans have been split down the middle on how they feel about that pick. So understanding the nature of the position, I'm a little more apprehensive about going forward with an investment on a running back. But that said, here we're going to talk about a few running backs. And I wanted to bring up something that took place yesterday, overnight, or throughout the course of the day. As of yesterday morning, opening bell, King Henry was sitting at the top as the number one running back.
As he should,
he should be.
Right?
But yesterday, I got to say, your boy,
look at that.
Zeke,
takes
over the top spot. So there's a new benchmark, ladies and gentlemen, in the Mojo Market.
Henry, give me the crown. We want the crown on Zeke.
Ezekiel Elliott, and it's a little, I wouldn't say it's surprising, but we were talking about the bell cow situation a minute ago, and Derrick Henry, I feel like, is the clear guy. You can't really say that about Zeke in Dallas, but I feel like there's something to be said for having that guy that could come in and spell you because of the violence and the nature of the sport. I think that keeps a guy like Zeke around a little bit longer because he doesn't have to go in there and grind it out on a day-to-day the way King Henry does 3 downs every series. First, second, third.
I mean, look, Henry got hurt last year a little bit, so there was some movement there, obviously. If the Mojo Market Report was around last year, things would have looked a lot different.
I feel like King Henry approached around the $26 mark at one point or another throughout his career. I think it was 2 years ago.
The what mark? 20 what?
26. I think he was up around $26
a
share.
So he went up.
So he was up, and then
where was the fall off? The injury?
It's not about the fall off in terms of his play. the injury did take place, but what the injury does is it really cuts into his future projections by the market. You have that foot injury, all that tread on those tires. You got to imagine eventually one of the wheels are going to fall off. And last year it finally did. He's back healthy. He got back healthier than people would have thought. He returned last season, but this season it hasn't been quite the same. And there was an emergence of a one Dontrell Hilliard in week 1 that scored 2 touchdowns in the receiving game. And Derrick Henry doesn't really do it in the pass catching game. He never really has. I think it's like averaging 20 catches a season. That's not going to really get it done receiving. I don't know. I mean, going forward, what do you feel about this situation?
I mean, this situation to me is near and dear to my heart.
So, like, I have one question. If you were going to pick one of these guys to go long on for the rest of their career, because same year, they came into the league the same year. I believe Derrick Henry's a year older. He's 28. Zeke is 27. Where do they project going forward? If you wanted to invest in, let's say, the top dog, the Tom Brady, which is crazy that we're calling Zeke the Tom Brady. Of course
you are. Let's go.
Of the running backs. But if you had to invest in one of the 2 top dogs, which guy would you go long
on? Here's my thing with
this. And I want you to be.
I'm trying to
separate yourself.
Yes, I'm separating
in a vacuum.
I'm separating my fanhood from this because this is a significant conversation, and I'm here to make money. We're all here to make money on the Mojo Market. So when I look at the 2 guys, I'm looking at the fact that both of them came in 2016, right? So they've been here for now. This is their 7th season together. When you look at their career numbers, and pull that career stat up real quick, because we did compare the trajectory of both careers. Now, if you look at Ezekiel Elliott, okay, that rookie year, he was almost in line to win MVP, right? And I'm not trying to like date myself here, but you see the significant drop off. We all know what happened there. You know, he was suspended for 6 games in the following season. Then the offense gets booming again with 2018, and then 2019 he starts to go up again, and then another drop off. So it's been more of a like just this whole little path, right? But when you look at Henry, it's been your quote stairway to heaven for the entire time. So when he comes in at 672.
He
also
must
because
have
of
done
the draft.
Something wrong, because it looks like he might be going back to hell. Because I wouldn't call it a stairway to heaven anymore. I feel like that's the.
I'm just saying back last year he gets hurt. His peak performance was at 26. Zeke's now remember the way Mojo works is. It's their draft stock. So being that Henry was drafted as late as he was, not in the top 10 like Zeke.
Yeah, they started off
different significantly different. So when you look at the 2 numbers and the comparisons, I'll bring this up to you. Henry has 1,455 carries, and you're like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of tread on those big tires, right? Zeke has almost 200 more carries
and he has a lot
Henry.
more receptions.
Yes, he's got a lot more in the passing game and everything like that. But if I'm picking one to go long on, and this is why I pick Ezekiel Elliott. Now I know you're saying, "Oh, here we go." Here's my back.
I actually may agree with you.
Here's my backing. Okay. The offenses are significantly different, and when you look at the 2 comparable, right? The offenses are different because of the one Dak Prescott, who went healthy, right, and Ryan Tannehill, which again. The comparison there is actually very close to believe it or not. Tannehill and Dak. Talk to me, I don't know, last year at this time, like Dak just, blows them away. Maybe not so much anymore. We'll see. The depth charts is what scares me. The contracts are what scare me. Zeke is highly paid, so what are they going to do? But when it comes to the style of play, they're both very similar. Downhill, like to throw your shoulder, like to look for contact. I mean, how many guys has Derrick Henry posterized? How many guys has Zeke leaped over? So, there's definitely a comparison there. The quarterback play. Now, here's where I draw this back, because it's only a matter of time before the Tennessee Titans switch to Malik Willis, okay? And when that happens, that Tennessee Titans offense becomes very reminiscent of the Baltimore Ravens. And when I look at the Baltimore Ravens, I say, now you're getting your carries cut into because the quarterback has the ability to run. Dak Prescott, since breaking his ankle, all the Cowboy fans are barking, you got to run more, you got to run. It ain't going to happen. He's changed his style of play. And if Cooper Rush is in there, he sure as hell ain't running. So that's where I say Zeke is the longer-term play, because if he's brought back to Dallas after this crazy contract, which I think he will be. If I had to make a prediction right now, Zeke doesn't walk out the door. He might be significantly less value-wise money.
I feel like I feel like the best chance at Zeke maintaining some type of upward trajectory is if he does restructure or takes less money, because I hate to see him go into a new situation and have to re-earn everything.
Yeah, no, I think he stays, and Pollard's contract is up this year as well, so it's like they're going to have to figure something out because Pollard, and we talked about Pollard yesterday a little bit, I believe on the Daily Show, about the significant changes from, the fact that he's not your 3-down back. He's not built that way. Well, we don't know that yet. I don't know that yet. But the way you look at Pollard, he ain't a 3-down back. So then you look at Zeke and you're like, this guy can eat forever. That's why I'm taking Zeke. The style of offenses, the volume he would still get with a Dak Prescott under center, whereas Henry would get less carries. And I think that's a big thing because here at Mojo Market, on the report itself, we're all about opportunity. And I think the opportunity will be in Zeke's favor.
I tend to agree with you because I think Dallas is going to play meaningful football. I feel that if there's a situation down the stretch where the Titans are not winning football games, and right now it's not looking too great for them, their division is bad, so they have some chances there. Yeah. And same thing with Dallas. The only reason why I say Dallas has a chance, even though with Dak out, he's looking to be coming back in a week or two. The Cowboys managed to salvage their season with Cooper Rush. Tip your hat to that guy.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
And I think that Zeke Elliott is going to be playing meaningful football throughout the rest of the season. I don't know if Derrick Henry is going to finish this season because if Tennessee is reeling and he's banged up, it just doesn't make any sense to add more tread to those tires. You talked about the contracts. Derrick Henry, I don't think he's gotten paid like Zeke, has he?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, I can check.
And if that's the case, then I expect him to sit
so.
football
I want to check that,
If
actually.
he hasn't been paid the way Zeke has been paid, then he's definitely not going to be putting it all on the line because he's got about one more payday in line.
Probably just one, right? You would think because.
But all that aside, Derrick Henry, he could just make us all eat our words and next week put up 200 rushing yards and stiff arm 11 guys, and then we could have a completely different conversation come next Tuesday. Correct?
Yeah.
You agree?
Absolutely.
As Dave pulls up the contract.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the contract now. So Derrick Henry right now is set to have a free agency void in 2024. So all the tread that came on, his cap number went up significantly in 2021.
So he did get paid.
I'm sorry. So he
did get paid. I can't imagine he wouldn't have gotten paid.
No, but Zeke reset everybody. Really so that's the problem when it comes to these two guys. But I'm assuming that once this void year hits in 2023, actually, he has no guaranteed salary in 2023. So if the Titans, for whatever reason, want to move on from Derrick Henry, then of course.
If he's not guaranteed in 2023, it lends to the point that I was making. If he's not guaranteed money next year, he's not going to risk it for a team that's got 3 wins down the stretch. Not going to happen.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So I'm in on Zeke if I'm going long on one of the two, but
Sounds
I'm
good.
really not. So
So
I'm just
you
not
decided
go
to choose violence today and throw one at my heartstrings here with Zeke and Henry. So I'm going right back at you, Chris. I'm going right back at you because there's 2 running backs in your title town, okay? And we're talking about A.J. Dillon and, of course, your other guy, Aaron Jones. Now, when you bring these guys up, this is a significant change because right now there's a $5 difference between the two of them. And the one thing I will say is A.J. Dillon looks to be obviously the younger of the talent, but also Aaron Jones, we talk about contracts all the time, that might be a thing. There might be a time we're talking about within a year of this conversation that we're talking about A.J. Dillon RB1. Who are you going long on when it comes to your 2 guys?
So I have to choose which of the 2 running backs that I'm going long on. So now, conventional wisdom would point to the younger guy, right?
Sure.
Because A.J. Dillon's got 3 years younger. He's been in the league 3 years less. He's got way less.
So this is a layup for you, as you gave me 2 guys that are the same age.
Well, no. So conventional wisdom would tell you to go with the younger guy because they're both talented. But there's something about Aaron Jones that he just keeps on outplaying his value. He got drafted in the 5th round, so that's for starters. He reset the benchmark in terms of what his expectations are with what he's done over the last couple seasons. I got a stat for you. So there's 2 running backs since 2019 going into this season. I'm not sure what's changed with the numbers this year, but going into this season since 2019, there's only been 2 backs in the league that have 40 total touchdowns and 4,000 total yards. Do you know who those 2 guys are?
Well, since you threw it to me like that, I'm going to assume that Aaron Jones is one of them.
Aaron Jones is one of them, and Derrick Henry is the other. So Aaron Jones has been really productive and hasn't managed to crack the top 10 in terms of the fantasy rankings. We'll put them in air quotes here. But look, Aaron Jones, you can't take away what he's done. He has an insane amount of bank value as opposed to an A.J. Dillon. And the same reason why I like Zeke going forward over Derrick Henry, and that's the fact that there's somebody there to spell him. A.J. Dillon was not brought in to be the starter in Green Bay. I thought he was, but when the Packers signed Aaron Jones to that contract, uncharacteristic of the front office in Green Bay, to give a running back a bigger deal when they had a guy like A.J. Dillon waiting in the wings, I think it lends to the idea that they're going to keep both of these guys around if so. If they do that, I don't expect the roles to change much. You're going to see a lot of Aaron Jones early in the year, and then down the stretch when it starts to get cold, the game lends to that, you're going to see A.J. Dillon. But there was guys going into the Tampa game where it's saying the linebackers were like, yeah, A.J. Dillon's bigger, but Aaron Jones runs harder. There's more pop involved. A.J. Dillon's just a load. But Aaron Jones is the goal line guy, surprisingly.
Which is surprising, yes.
So while you are right, the contracts, in terms of the value, Aaron Jones is getting paid a lot more, and there is an out in that contract after this season. I expect the same thing you expect with Ezekiel Elliott. I don't expect Aaron Jones to go anywhere.
Yeah, but all right. So how old is Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones
he's
is
in his
27.
sixth year too. So he's basically the same age as Zeke.
Yeah, but the difference between those guys is Aaron Jones did not get carries for 2 or 3 years. Like, it was very limited for him.
Well, because they got Aaron Rodgers flinging it all over the place.
Not only that, they were just doing they've always done the split. They've always done the split. Aaron Jones was in the back end. It was actually Jamal Williams. There was a bunch of running backs that were filtered in through Green Bay. It was the Free Aaron Jones campaign on ESPN Fan. Matthew Berry was saying it for years. Free Aaron Jones. They finally freed Aaron Jones. But the fact that they held him under, they clamped him down for so long, it actually lends to a further productive career, I think. So I'm probably going long on both of these guys because I think that they're going to be together for a while.
You can do
that. And it's not a handcuff either. It's like they're both going to eat on specific games, and I think their usage throughout this season shows that week 1 it was all A.J. Dillon. Week 2 it was Aaron Jones. Week 3 they kind of shared a lot more, and neither one got it going. But game throughout the season, they're both going to have good games.
So if I had to make an opinion of the two of these guys, I'm saying in 2022, and we said this yesterday about Zach Wilson, like now, right? Because it's like they're going to be low, right? In 2022, the Green Bay Packers have shown that, yes, Aaron Rodgers is still looking for the guy because obviously Devontae Adams isn't there anymore, right? So he's spreading the ball around, but it looks to me that this offense has changed his philosophy just a little bit, that they want to run this rock a little bit more this year than years past.
The defense is really good.
And their offensive line is good.
The offensive line is good. And the best way to open things up for your young receivers is to make them respect the run. And the Packers are running the ball at like a 35 times a clip game. They're going to run the ball a lot this year. And wait until it gets cold. Those guys are going to be good all year long, barring health.
So go long on the Packers run attack. So
do I have to pick one?
I mean,
it's Aaron Jones. So that's if you're picking one, Aaron Jones. But really, I feel like the Packers, that tandem is going to earn some money this season.
Sounds good. Now,
go long.
Collectively.
Bye.
Are there any more? You did a lot of deep dives last night on this app. Did you find anything else?
Yeah, there's some guys that I think had some promise coming into the league. They both came into the league, I believe, in the same season, and they had some promise, good splashes in their rookie year, and then injuries derailed them, and they were both expected to come back this season. And I'm going to bring up a little J.K. Dobbins and Cam Akers because I think there's some real interest around both of them. They're high draft picks, good prospects coming out of college. We're going to go with J.K. Dobbins first in this regard. Mm-hmm. You talked about him a little bit earlier and having Lamar there. Look, he came into the league and he had one of the most efficient rookie seasons that I could remember in recent memory. He had like 10 touchdowns and he only touched the ball like 100 times or something.
He only had
6 yards a carry.
Well, yeah, he's played one game this year, last week, and his career average is still 5.9 yards a carry. So this dude runs downhill, and he's a very effective runner. A very, very effective runner. And he's only played 16 total NFL games in his career. So it's all about the future of this kid.
16 total games, and I believe he's amassed a bank value, or he's averaged at $1.86 per season. I guess that's 2 seasons. So his rookie year, he did amass some decent value as a rookie, and then it completely went away. I worry because, like you said, he's only played 16 NFL games, and he's been around for about 35, 40 of them, and he's only been a part of 16 of them. So that's, for me, I just can't do it. I need to see more because of the high value of a draft pick, and he has a little bit of a mass value. I don't know, as far as running backs go, coaches and executives, they get rid of you quick. You know, you look
100%.
at Todd Gurley. Imagine having
remember
Mojo
him?
stocking Todd Gurley and then expecting, this guy might set
we got to
records.
do a deeper dive on Todd Gurley.
He might
I want
set
to hear
some
that. I want
records
to see
and
that
then
stuff.
he just bottomed out and there was nothing you could do about it.
I want to know where he was at his peak because at one point, that dude was
that was an
surging.
accidental segue right into the Cam Akers story.
That's a very beautiful thing.
Cam Akers is in the same system that Todd Gurley was in, and he seems to be in the same doghouse that Todd Gurley was in.
With Todd Gurley, not with McVay, though. Yeah?
Yeah,
At the very end of his career?
Absolutely.
Or his tenure with the Rams?
Yeah,
wow, I feel like that was a Jeff Fisher.
No. It was Todd Gurley's year that he had all those touchdowns. You think that was Jeff Fisher?
9-7, Jeff Fisher himself?
You think that was Jeff Fisher?
Or 7-9, Jeff Fisher himself, whichever
I feel like
one.
Jeff Fisher, if there was Mojo and coaches, he would have fell off the earth because he had so much respect in Tennessee, and then that Hard Knock season really threw him for a loop. But let's talk about Cam.
Yeah,
Same deal.
Cam.
Serious injury. Back end of his rookie season, he looked like he was a clear RB1. He looked like he was a top 10 fantasy pick for the next couple seasons, and then along comes Mr. Achilles, and he tears. Unfortunate for Cam, but he bounced all the way back in the same season essentially and managed to play in the playoffs. It was limited, but we were like, okay, this gives me hope that next year he'd be all the way back. And all offseason, they were talking like Cam is the guy.
Don't
Cam
get me
is the
started
guy.
on the offseason talk.
There was a little bit of an investment.
All the fantasy stuff and
there was
all
a
the
little bit
advice.
of an investment by me. I did retain him in a dynasty league, unfortunately. But week 1, it was all bad, right?
All bad.
All bad.
Well, why is it bad? Because he's not on the field. That's
He
why.
was on the field, but it was,
yeah, he was on the field for
in
3
garbage
snaps.
time when they were getting spanked.
Right.
Week 2, it was a little bit better. They used him more, but it was more of a timeshare. Week 3, Darrell Henderson didn't see the ball. I think it was 4 times. And Cam Akers was the clear guy that got the ball every single play. Well, not every play, but then along comes Mr. Fumble at the goal line.
So that's what I was going to bring up, is the fact that, yes, that fumble hurts a lot, but, dude, he's in his 3rd year. That's only his 2nd fumble of his career.
Yeah, I know, because
So that's a big thing. Ball security, when it comes to, for me, ball security will keep you around in the NFL. If you don't fumble the rock, you will be on an NFL team.
Before we look at that number too and think that it's a low number, I would have to actually look at the metrics across the league and how many carries he has.
180 attempts.
That's not good then.
2 fumbles and 180?
It's not great, but it's not bad. There's guys that don't fumble at all. It's not terrible. It's all right. It's fine. It's good.
I know it's good.
Zero fumbles is good, but
Zero fumbles is great.
I'm not talking about his career, and maybe Sean McVay will echo your sentiment and say, you know what, 180 carries, only 2 fumbles. I'm talking about that goal line fumble though.
I mean,
Talking
sure.
about that goal line fumble
Now,
last week.
Now,
and
here's the
that
thing.
was
They
the
won
one
the
that
game.
stands out
They
to
won
me.
the game.
Fair.
So that's like when you look at that, like that goes with anybody. Like there could be quarterbacks that throw 5 interceptions and win the game, and you're like, man, that was a terrible, terrible game. But the best statistic of all is that they won the game. So, like, I think a fumble on the goal line while you're looking at them and you're slapping them on the back of the helmet, like, don't worry about it, man. We'll get them next time, and then they win the game. I think that's a little bit forgotten. I think that's a short-term memory type deal with that. Like, I don't think there's going to be any lack of faith in a guy like Cam Akers because of the fumble. And as far as his stock price, like, it's very, very low right now. So if you think that he seems to be trending in the right direction as far as volume is concerned when it comes to him and Darrell Henderson. And they got Sonny Michel too. There's a couple spells over there. But what I will say about Cam Akers is that he is the most versatile back on that team. And if the Rams do want to run the ball, this is the guy that's going to do it. Like, Darrell Henderson is good, but he's not Cam Akers.
But then we bring up the age-old question: is long or short, or buy, sell, hold, whichever way you want to cut that in part. I am still going to sell and short Cam Akers because I just don't believe that he's been on the field enough for me to buy in that he's fully healthy. I also am going to short on Dobbins too for the same reason. I just need both of these guys. I need to see more the nature of the sport, the violence, the injury risk. I'm not in on either of these running backs. There's 2 guys that we talked about in Green Bay that I would definitely be like. A.J. Dillon is in a far better situation. Much less risk involved. They're not asking him to be the bell cow back just yet, but he's managing to still accumulate some bank value over his career and same age. You know, we're not having this conversation like, do you or don't you? I don't know. All these injuries. That's the guy I'm going with if I'm going in the year 3 running back because he's in a really good spot. We know he's going to get the ball. If Aaron Jones gets hurt, you could enjoy a really nice spike because he'll be RB1 territory right then. So yeah, I'm definitely selling on Dobbins and Cam Akers, but I wouldn't exactly short them because I do think that there's potential there. So to me, it's just like I'm going to stay away. If they could turn the corner a little bit, if they could turn the corner a little bit, then I might be a little in on them because I do like both players a lot.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for both guys. So
yeah, for sure. All right, well, that is your running backs, and I'm glad you did that deep dive because I was very interested in where these guys fell in as far as like the Mojo stock and what you would do to invest. But the running back situation across the league, I feel, is running back by committee, and that's happened over the last couple of years, right? So it's all about the guys that you think are the next guy, and it's something that you brought up, I think, last year. When somebody goes down, right, and you're like, oh, got to get his back up. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. So that's why it's like, who's the more versatile guy that will step in? It might be the third guy. It might be the fourth guy.
What you see a lot of times in the league is they don't want to change two things. Essentially, if the first and second down back gets hurt and they have a third down back, like the third down back has his role. Why would you change his role and then bring someone else into another role? So like leave that guy in his role.
So the third down back's always going to be your third down back.
Role. So he doesn't necessarily change. You might get a little uptick in carries and get a little more usage. Like for example, Cowboys are maybe a different situation. Pollard, I think, is a cut above most backups, but he's the third down back. They would bring somebody else in to get some carries. Someone else would get 10 carries if Pollard was starting.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Pollard's the guy, and then
Pollard
will still be on third down, and they will use someone else sparingly on first and second down to give him the blow. No doubt.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. So if you really, really want to deep dive, especially on the Mojo Market, definitely look into the guys that you think might have the best upside going forward. Look, this is all about futures, right? It's one thing to play them and it's performance based, and we all get how the formula works on Mojo. But what I'm looking at is opportunity. I'm looking at your future. I'm looking at your contract. I'm looking at all that stuff because every single piece makes the Mojo Market price. So that's the kind of thing you got to just keep pay attention to. Pay attention to.
Yeah.
So
pay attention.
That'll do it for the running back conversation. But obviously tomorrow, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we are into week 4 of the NFL. I said I was depressed last week. I'm more depressed this week because it's going too fast, Chris. Before you know, we're going to be in the playoffs.
We're at the quarter way already.
Dude, is that nuts? That's nuts, bro. We're a month into football.
Yeah, and I'm still looking for my first win in a couple of my fantasy leagues. It's embarrassing over here.
But in that same regard,
I got to say, Trey Lance injury really killed me.
In that same regard, though, yes, me too. It's unfortunate. But in that regard, I will say, all the entry fees we've paid into for the fantasies, we've already got that back on Mojo. We did get that back because we've invested smart.
See,
we've gone long on the guys. I've gone short on Mitch Trubisky. There's a lot of things.
I'm kind of deciding on my strategy, how I'm going to play the Mojo Market, and I've come to
I think you're doing all right so far.
Realization. Well, I'm talking about, my girlfriend's like, "Are you going to cash out?" And I said, "Hell no."
I had the same conversation with my dad.
I got Justin Herbert on this multiplier, and I really believe in Justin Herbert. I'm not cashing out, so I'm not going to be the swing day guy. I'm gonna play some long-term quarterbacks, and then I'll have some fun on Sunday mornings. Don't get me wrong, but I think baseball is going to be the thing where baseball, basketball.
I'm curious to know how that's all going to work, but very, very interesting and very exciting stuff at Mojo as they make their way into more states, as they make their way. But just keep in mind, right now,
more sports.
In New Jersey, we are the home base here at the Mojo Market Report.
NBA opened up training camp yesterday. Just saying, we got some basketballs coming.
I'm sure it's down the pipeline, and like I said, when you're a Knicks fan, it's very difficult to start talking about basketball. I know you're more of a NBA fan. Let Rob Lowe put the NBA hat on. I hope everybody has fun type situation. I'm not. I'm a depressed Knicks fan.
It's a player-driven sport, so I'm definitely all in on the NBA as a whole. I don't really have a team.
All right, so that'll do it for this episode on a Wednesday here at Mojo. And of course, tune in tomorrow, week 4. We got Thursday Night Football. We got a really good one because we get to talk about 2 really high octane offenses battling doing battle. And I believe the Bengals are wearing their all whites.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be cool visuals. So check back in tomorrow right here on the Mojo YouTube channel. For Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, and of course, everybody watching, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
You're not a fan of the white?
I love the white jerseys.
I would score 11 touchdowns if I wore those uniforms.